Welcome to LS540. This is the multicultural class. To me, it's really a pleasure to teach this class. And with a couple of other classes like LS500 and the new advanced reference class LS506 and my database class LS541, all those classes are my favorite classes to teach. Well, we used to have international librarianship, which was another favorite of mine, but it's not being offered, at least not this year. And what else? Oh, I love also collection management. But the LS540 is really an enjoyable class, and I think we're gonna have a good learning experience. I hope you have read my initial instructions. And many of you have taken my classes before, so you know how I work in my classes, how I like my classes to be run. But anyway, if this is the first time you're taking my class, I'm going to do like an overview of what are we going to do, how we're going to do it, and when do we have to submit the work. And we're going to go to the syllabus, but let me point this out. For this class, of course, this is a 5 week session. Summer 2 is 5 week. So this is very concentrated. There is a lot of material to cover. There is a lot of reading to do. But I think there is enough time. I haven't, when I have taught this class in a regular semester, is 14 weeks. So we have more assignments, more discussion boards, etc. I have tried to 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 I it was a it actually was a it was hard for me to select uh, chapters, reading material, and assignments for such a small session, for such a short session. However, I think I have chosen or selected I mean the best readings, the best homeworks, so we can get a lot out of this class. Okay, there are gonna be 8 activities that are graded. Okay, of those 8, 5 are discussion board. DB1, DB2, DB3, DB4, and DB5. And here you have the due dates. What that means, if you have to have completed the discussion board before, for example, DB1 before June 10, 2018 at 11:30 p.m. because after that the discussion board is locked. Okay. We have 2 homeworks. H1 is a issues and community scan, and that's something that you will have to, you for this you don't need any book for the 2 homeworks. If observations, interviews, etc., that I want you to do, and that's due on June 24, you should start working on it right away. And then for H2, which is due July 6, is a collection scan, and I want you to visit a library. Then we have a final exam, which is 1 question, and if you have done if you have done all the activities in the class and the readings, it's actually it's a common sense exam. I'm asking you for your input, so you don't have to worry about the final exam if you have done all the graded activities in the class. Okay, so please make sure you do this first, all of this from 1 to 10. Now let's go to the content area. And many of you know I put all the stuff that you need to know in this class from the very beginning. So from day one, which is today, you should start working on your homework 1 and your DB1. And that's why I don't accept late assignments. There will be no late assignments, there will be no extra credit work or anything. You just have to get in your work on time. Do not wait till the last moment to do it. Here's the syllabus. It's in PDF format, and you can download the syllabus in case you need it. I'm not going to read the whole syllabus. Of course, my name is Simon Enriqueira Trilos. Maybe you know that. And if you want to have a personal conversation with me, send me an email and we'll make an appointment for a phone conversation. In the meantime, if you can use D2L for most of our conversations, it will be much better. Okay, this is the book that we're using, Library Services for Multicultural Patrons, and I have decided which chapters I want you to read. Okay, please learn about course objectives, course requirements, and this is what more or less we're going to do during this short session of 5 weeks. And this is how I'm going to grade. This is wrong here. It should be 10. Uh, I mean, it's perfect, fine. It's five occurrences, and each one is 10. It's a maximum of 10 points. How you gonna get those 10 points? Remember that to get those 10 points, you have to have an initial post and a feedback post to one of your classmates or colleagues. Okay? If you do only one posting in the discussion board, you get only 5 points. If you get if you do two, you get 10 points. Then we have homework 1 and 2, and each is worth 20 points. And the final exam is worth 10 points, and that's a total of 100 points. Once you have gained or achieved those points, you will know exactly what your letter grade is because you follow this table. If you got a 72, you know what you got to see. If you got an 88, you know you got a B. If you got a 90, you know you got an A. So it's very straightforward. It's not complicated. You know from day one how I'm going to grade. You know how many points you're going to achieve, etc., etc., etc. Please make sure you read the syllabus carefully. These are the required and recommended readers. We have some journal article readings that you can go to our library website to the academic database and download those journal articles. Some of them you will need to read to answer the discussion boards. Others, I hope you read them because they are important for your professional development. I have also selected chapters from your textbook to read. Again, this is only 5 weeks, so I don't expect you to read the whole book, but at least I expect you to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 chapters. And I think it's enough to get the most information out of this class. So you need to do the recommended and required readings journal articles and to follow the reading schedule right here that I posted right here. That does not mean that you don't have to read the other chapters, but I want to make sure you read these chapters, the ones that are here in this schedule. But please, if you can read the whole book, I mean, many of you can read this book in 2 hours, so do it. But I know you have other things to do too, so that's my thing. We have two homeworks. One is H1 issues and community scan, and H2 is a collection scan. And normally I do another one in my regular class. If this were a regular semester of 14 weeks, I would do a service scan and a literature review. But because this is only 5 weeks, I have decided that these two, I'd like to concentrate our efforts in these two. By the way, in let's see the instructions in H1. Okay, you scan, observe, and think about your community, workplace, school, church, etc. And here are the guiding questions. What multicultural or diversity issues can you identify? In your opinion, how the diversity you have identified affects library service, programs, and collection? Write a 2-page paper, but you don't have to limit yourself to 2 pages. If you want to write 3 pages, 4 pages, that's fine. It's up to you. But at least 2 pages of the main body. Okay? So for this, you don't have to do bibliographic research. You just have to you just have to observe and think about your community. And for the second one, it's the collection scan. What is that instructions here? Let me see. I didn't click on the right one here. Collection scan right here. Okay. For the collection scan, I am asking you to visit your community library or your school library or your university library, browse and search the catalog. If necessary, ask a librarian looking for collections that meet the needs, interests, and abilities of all the persons in your community. Write one or two page paper describing the collection you found that meet the needs of the community and how they match your observations in the previous scan, in your issues and community scan. So both papers, both reports are related. So again, if you're going to go over 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, that's fine. That's the main body. Okay. Again, for this, you don't need bibliographic research. You just have to go to the library. You have to talk to a librarian. You have to see the catalog. You have to see what resources they have available for the diversity in your community. By the way, in my concept, and this is very important, when I think about diversity, I'm not thinking about Latino, black, and white. No, that's part of the diversity, but there is also diversity in gender, there is a diversity in age, there is diversity in economic and social background, in educational background, etc. So professional difference too. Let's say in a small town you have farmers and you have professional doctors and you have teachers. Well, that's diversity in your community. So this applies to every community. Every community, even if you're in a large city or in a small rural town, there is diversity here. In Clarion, where I live, I've been living here for 7 years. There's a lot of diversity. Only in this street we have people. We have us who are uh, from Venezuela, my family. Then we have in front of my house there are another professor who comes from Africa, and we have some Asian people, exactly from Korea. Um, I'm a professor. My front door neighbor, he has a store, etc., etc. So there is a lot of diversity in every community. Okay, and this is only in this street. I can differentiate here, like I can see the diversity right in my street. I have another person who is a friend of mine who is a veteran, um, another one who is a medical doctor, etc. So that's part of the diversity. And what I wanted to see is if the library that serves us has materials that meet the needs of the diversity in the community. Maybe they have resources for farmers, for doctors, for professors, for Latinos, for the African family, for the Asian family, etc. So we have to be open about diversity. Okay, just don't think about skin color only. Think about all the diversity that you can see in your community. Okay, for H1 and H2, you don't need any bibliographic research. You just have to you have to report, you have to be aware, you have to reach conclusions. This is going to be written by you. Okay. Now, if you're going to use any source, you have to use APA for formatting, for citation, if you're going to cite, and for reference. If you're not going to use any citation or any source, then you don't need to cite or reference. However, the format of the report have to be in APA. Okay, that's very important. And if you want to see how an APA paper looks like, you can go here to APA, go to the Purdue OWL APA link here, and they have an example of a paper right here. So you have to have your title page, then you have to have your abstract, then you have to have your main body. And here you can click here and you can see the paper right here. You see? So you need to do that. You need to do a presentation paper or title paper. You need you need another page for your abstract, and then the main body. Okay. So when I say two pages, I mean 2 pages of the body of the main body. They can be 3, 4, or 5, plus the first two pages, the title page and the abstract. You will have, I don't think in this case of H1 or H2, you don't need a reference page, because you won't be referencing anything unless you have a talk with a librarian, unless there is a, for example, here in Clarion we have several books, at least two, on the story of Clarion. And if I use those books for my community scan, for my observation about the community, of course I would have to cite those books. But maybe you don't have any books or any materials in your community, or maybe there is a museum there, or maybe there is the community historian, etc. So if you use a resource, please cite it properly in APA. If you don't use any resource, that's fine. But you have to format your paper according to APA 6th edition. And this is the sample paper. Okay, let's go back here to the table of contents. So we already went over the syllabus, the required and recommended readings, and you will get these readings, the journal articles, from the Clarion library website. You go to academic databases, you choose, start with the academic, search complete, and then you choose the two library databases, and I think you'll find those papers there. Okay, there's a final exam. As I said, it's going to be one question, and if you have done all the activities in the class, you won't have any problem answering that question. Then we have the discussion boards, and as you can see, you will have to do some these are, so for example, for DV1 you have to read Thurston. So you, okay, how do I, what is Thurston? Well, you go to required and recommended readings, you go to journal articles, and you look here for the reference, and this is what you're going to search on or in the academic database. You download this paper or you read it online, and then you go to DV1 and answer the question. And remember, you have to post twice: one, your initial post, and two, a feedback to one of your colleagues. Okay. The due dates are very important. As you know, I don't accept late assignments. There's no late assignments. There's no extra credit assignments, extra credit activity. No. You have to turn in everything before the due date or the due hour. For example, DV1, you can do it right now. Don't wait till June 10 at 11:28 to do it. Just do it. Read Thurston and then answer. And when somebody post something, you provide feedback. Okay, so here are the due dates for all 8 graded activities. So this is how and you know that if you have taken my class before, this is how I like to run my classes. Very straightforward, very clearly. There's no mysteries here. I have the presentations here. These are the PowerPoints, and I have links to the video lectures, and I will be telling you what to watch first. And these are the PowerPoints. Okay, so you have all the materials here. Let's go to assessment, assignments. Okay, we have, this is your submission folder for H1 and submission folder for H2, and here are the due dates for H1 and for H2. These are the grades. There are no grades there, but this is how the grades are distributed. As I said, each discussion participation or discussion board participation is 10 points if you post twice. You can get a maximum of 10 points. I read your what you have posted, and I will grade it. Then H1 is 20 points, H2 is 20 points, and the final exam is 10 points. The final exam is already here, but it won't open till July 2nd, and it will remain open from July 2nd to July 6th at 11:30 p.m. Okay, then we have communication, we have discussion, and I have asked you to introduce yourself to the class. And here, if you have any question, this is the place where I want you to ask the questions. Why? Because other colleagues may have the same question, and other colleagues may have an answer. So if you're welcome to answer your classmates or colleagues. These are the instructions for the graded participation or the DVs. And this is what I was talking about. You have to post an original comment, and then you have to provide feedback to one of your classmates. If you do that and you do them correctly and you elaborate and you develop your opinion, then you will get 10 points. And here are the DVs, and we have already one student who has answered the first post. So you see, that's what I like to see. Okay, I think this covers all for the introduction. Again, this is my favorite class. I'm already doing the readings, refreshing my mind because it's been like a year or two since I have taught this class. So I'm going through the readings again, and I hope you do the same. And I think it's going to be a wonderful class. So welcome to summer session number 2, 2018. And this is the multicultural class. LS540. Okay, thank you.